Okay, so very interesting thing is beginning to happen. I did undermine that natural dam a little bit from both sides, and we are beginning to see water flowing through this undermined spot into the lake or the drainage down below it. And how long will it be till it actually gives way? I don't know, but maybe that's also another way some of these arches formed. Maybe the top layer formed into a hard rock and the under was still wet. So we're almost through. I am speeding up the process. I understand that. Okay. But I'm trying to see, will it actually undermine and break through? So I got to go over here and create a little bit more drainage this direction. So creating drainage this way, which may help the flow. So we can see again, I understand I'm helping all this along. All the evolutionists are going to say, oh, you just did that by yourself. Well, yes, I did do it by myself, but this is an ad hoc experiment. Now we can see that the dam is actually being undermined. You've seen a cave-in of sorts. Even more, here comes another part of the cave-in. Hopefully we can see it. So the dam is definitely being breached, albeit slowly. Okay, now we're actually starting to get a pickup of flow. You can see these bubbles. They are flowing slowly, but there's actually more of a trickle. I wish this wasn't in the shade. Maybe I can see it that way, I don't know. There you go. Okay, so now you're seeing the dam actually being undermined instead of being breached from the very top. The top is already caved in. So we're going to speed up the process again. Okay, but now take a look. That used to be an archway all the way across, and now it's caved in. I'm going to speed up the process a little more. The process that was already demonstrated to be occurring. Okay. And let's see if we can get this dam to breach. And then see what happens when it does breach. Okay. So again, if I had set up a camera and if I had, you know, done all the things that you normally would do, but I'm just out here on a morning walk and just kind of doing an ad hoc experiment. You see the dam, as you undermine the base, the top falls in. And it is a bit of a slow process, slower than I would like because I'm impatient. But again, we start seeing that even after I got done gouging it out, we do see the water starting to flow again. So it really is just a matter of time. You know. Now what would happen if a wave came in and washed away that breach some more? Because we already saw from the other videos, the wave would come in and it would follow the channel that had already been cut, and it could hit this natural barrier and actually erode it from both directions. That actually could be the mechanism by which the base was actually breached. And then again, you come over here, the water flow is very, very slow, so I'm going to speed it up because that seems to make a difference. You know, there'll be a difference of height as this drains. So I speed up the drainage this way, and you see the drainage here speeding up. And again, it's a very slow process. You can actually see it in a few minutes of time, you know, time lapse perhaps, but you still see that the natural dam is slowly being breached. So again, we'll speed it up a little bit. Okay, now there's a big chunk of it has just fallen in. So as the process repeats, every 12 hours with the tide, a little bit more gets dug out. And there, you couldn't really see it because it's in the shade, but you now are seeing some significant base erosion. And there's the top, it's about to get breached. There's the top, and here goes that part of the side. And there goes another part of the top. We're just about to witness, there's the breach. There's the actual breach happening real time. And you now see the breach has occurred. You now see a significant, the breach just widens on its own. You see Grand Lake begin to drain. And the natural dam has been breached after a series of tides kept undermining from one side, and then the water pressure eventually pushes its way through the soft sand, and now you have a full-on breach of a natural dam. Yes, I understand that I helped it along, perhaps in ways. I don't have $1 million grant from the government to study these kinds of things, even though it would be much better spent than trying to figure out how cow farts cause global warming. But at any rate, here now we just had a big wave, and that wave is actually causing a reverse of flow. But you see that this dam breach is now pretty much hopeless. It's not going to be repaired unless there's a big earthquake that causes it, but even then it's just a matter of time before it happens again. And there's actually a stone in the flowway. You can see how the water just cuts around it. So you can see our Hopi Lake, Grand Lake draining. There might be, you know, as the sediments fill in, you might actually end up seeing an S-curve here. You might end up seeing an S-curve here as it cuts its way through. You see a side canyon joining, because that had actually already been draining the lake too, through its base. All of this around here is wet because it had been draining through its base. This just happened to be the point, ultimately, that caused it to give way. And now we've got, you see over here, the wave came in from that direction. Now you have sideward flow. You have 90-degree angle flow, which ultimately is going to go down there a couple hundred yards. Okay? It's going to go down there a couple hundred yards and form its own Grand Canyon that I didn't help along. That formed all by itself. So again, we need to get some people studying these kinds of things. Now you start seeing an eddy forming, and we know that the eddy can just act like a little bit of a chisel. Okay, I'm going to help it along again. Help. So now we got a much more significant breach. and the water flowing, joining much larger. And it's very easy to see how all of these natural formations occurred from the plateau, you know, the tabletop plateaus to the natural dam breaches and Grand Canyon itself. Okay, I gotta shut this off before I use up all my memory.